What is going on, everybody? We're here today with Ara Hollyday. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
So you've worked with Wes Anderson, Seth MacFarlane. What were you old enough to know that you were on this journey? Like what got you into this journey to become an actor?
Well, unlike a lot of people who are actors, for me it wasn't as much. I knew from being very young I wanted to do it. For me, it was more I stumbled into being an actor. I knew I always loved entertaining people and I love making people laugh, but I didn't set out being an actor. I kind of just found that it was something I enjoyed, but I never imagined it being as much a career either. I didn't think that would be feasible. But then, uh, thanks to my blessings, I've been able to make it my career.
So how did you get involved with Asteroid City?
So it's a funny story, but it was one of my first big auditions I got, and when I auditioned for it, it was for the main character in the film, who's played by Jake Ryan. And I sent in my audition, and it was during COVID, so lockdown, COVID tests, didn't know if the industry was going to exist. And then once we sent the audition in, we didn't hear anything for a very long time. And then like 6 months later, we got the news that they wanted me to be part of it in a different role, and so that was very exciting. We got to go to that was filmed in Spain during COVID, so there was a lot of COVID tests, lockdowns, all that kind of stuff. But it was definitely an unexpected adventure.
Just what is that auditioning process like?
Uh, it is so based on where I'm based in Texas, it's primarily self tapes where I record it and then send it in instead of auditioning in front of a casting director. But for Asteroid City, it was they didn't even let us see the script of the movie. It was that kind of closed doors. So I actually used a scene from his other film, Moonrise Kingdom, to audition for the part, and it was the scene. If your listeners are familiar, it's the scene where the kind of thuggish scouts uh, attack the main character. And so what they had us do is they had us read both parts in different scenes. So it was really interesting. You kind of got to play the villain in the one scene and then play the good kid in the other scene. So that was really interesting, just to kind of see, I guess, the range actors have for me specifically.
So with that, which one did you prefer, the villain or the good guy?
I like playing. I've never gotten to play a villain really, so I always want to play the villain. I'm kind of a typecast as the good best friend. Um, Sorry about that. I'm kind of typecast as the good best friend. So I very rarely get to play the villain. So that was fun. That was a fun part.
So when I was reading up on you and learning everything, because I've watched the TED series a little bit, but I want to ask about where it all started with the Renaissance festivals. Because
So
I seen your
yeah.
TikToks and all that, where it said that you started off with that, and I thought that was so fun.
So to get to there, I have to start with my introduction to acting was in community theater, and I made a lot of great contacts with great people. But doing that, I met the entertainment director for the Renaissance Festival. He liked to direct and act in these community plays. And meeting him, I made a great connection, and he invited me to join them out there. And so I played a historical character in the Italian court for 5 seasons. And it's really tough. You're out in the Texas heat. It's like 100 degrees. You're wearing velvet and leather, and I was 13 when I started, so I was very
Oh
young. But
man, young
I
age.
was surrounded by an incredible group of people who really pushed me, and that was one of the first times. That was my first acting gig where I got paid for being an actor, and it really helped me realize that, hey, this is something I might want to do.
Awesome. And you were good at it because it said that you won a couple awards for the
I
character.
did. I did.
That's amazing.
Like I said, they were very welcoming to me that first season, and they gave me a lot of the tools to craft a very fun character. And I got brownie points because I was a kid. I was 13, but it was a self, it was the cast voted for who they thought was, showed a lot of improvement and made a good character. So that was very, it's very nice when your peers recognize your work.
So what kind of stuff are you into outside of acting?
I am a chronic have to be creative, so I do all types of stuff. The latest thing I've been working on is I do a lot of not a lot. I've been taking a break, but I do stand up comedy. Um, but yeah, I always have to do something. I kind of get fixated on something creative for 3 to 6 months, and just to keep the brain, because the thing with acting is it's never a straight shot. There are dry spells and the industry's slow and all that. So it's really nice to have other outlets for what to do creatively.
So stand-up comedy, what got you into that? That's such a hard gig because
It
it's
is.
you. Like the audience
Yeah,
has to buy into you when you're on stage. There's no
absolutely. Like you said, the hardest thing is when you're an actor and say something doesn't go right, which you can say, oh, it was the script, it was the director, it was blah blah blah. But when you do stand up, it's your writing, your direction, your performance. It's all on you. But like I said in the beginning, I've always enjoyed making people laugh. I like telling stories, and especially seeing how my performances affect people. That's very gratifying to me. And I'd always been interested, but I was underage, because a lot of the places are, even once you're 18, they're 21 and up, because they're bars first and foremost. So it was kind of tricky getting in there. But once I was able to, um, it was a lot of fun. I need to get back to it. I've been taking a little hiatus to work on school, but it's it's a lot like the Renaissance Festival, where there are a lot of characters. There's a lot of interesting stuff, especially being around a bar. But I enjoyed it. It's getting to be up there and seeing all the people laugh and just kind of forget their troubles at the door is very nice.
you said you started stand-up before you were 18? What was that like?
It was so I started writing before I was 18 because I couldn't get into bars even with a parent. So I kind of had an interesting, unusual, unorthodox journey to get there, because I wrote for about 2 years writing jokes, and one of the best things that happened to me in my comedy career is I had about 5 pages of jokes I had saved on my computer, and I lost the file. And it was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because most comedians, when they're starting out, they go through that phase where they have to test those jokes in front of an audience. And instead, I got the experience of writing the jokes without having to fail as hard in front of the audience. So it was a blessing in disguise.
How do you build your characters, or do you go out with the different monologue each time? How do you set the tone for going
Um,
on stage?
on stage, it's so different from camera work, because when you're doing, say, a play, even at a community theater, you get about 2 to 3 months of rehearsal. So you get a really long time to build up that camaraderie, and that just how your character is going to be. Working with film and television, it's a lot of, here's your script, you're going to shoot in 5 minutes, we're going to have one rehearsal where it's basically so the cameras know where to point. So it's definitely, they throw you in the deep end. But for theater, uh, you get so much time with the script and working with people, and almost having a wall to bounce ideas off of, which is very nice. Film wise, it's kind of different, because for a lot of people, if there's anyone out there who's interested in becoming an actor, one of the best skills you can build is patience, because for every 5 minutes of screen time, it's about 4 to 5 hours of waiting. But you get to meet your other cast members, and that kind of acts as your soundboard to throw ideas off of. I've been very grateful that in my time doing this, I've gotten a great group of people who've really, everything I've worked on, everyone there has taught me something, whether I knew it at the time or not. So I'm very grateful for that. But when it comes to building the characters, it's a lot of, depending on which medium you're using, and then how you approach it, whether it's you have a lot of time with the script, or you're kind of thrown in the deep end. Like I said, that really affects it.
So Ted. So, had you seen the films before you got involved?
I
with
had
the
not. I had not seen the films.
Okay. Yeah, going into the TV show, like as a audience member, I had no idea what to expect. I was a little hesitant because the show is so good. What was the audition process like for you?
So it was. I had just gotten back from doing another. It was an independent film up in Maine, and I got back and I got the audition, and it was like, wow, this is the biggest thing I've gotten so far. And because I knew Seth MacFarlane, I grew up on Family Guy. I was very aware of his work, and he was one of those people up there. It's like I want to work with him. So that's very intimidating. It's so much easier to audition for something where you have no idea who any of the people are. But so I auditioned for it, and originally the character didn't fit me very well. He was supposed to be very skinny and very bookish, which I guess I fit that part. Um, but I auditioned for it. I sent in my tape, and very quickly, I want to say within just a few days, they got back to me and said, "Hey, we really like you. Stay on the horn." And then just a couple days later, they said, "We need you to fly out to LA next week. We're going to start shooting the pilot." So it was a very quick process, which is funny because, like I said, this happened not long after Wes Anderson, where it was waiting and waiting of like 6 to 8 months. I think it was almost exactly a year from when I auditioned to when I filmed was a year. So right now, my batting average for time between audition and filming is about 6 months.
Well, dude, so Ted seems wild because we had Max on a couple days ago talking
Oh
about his
yeah.
audition for. He's like, I just sent in
Hmm.
one tape, and that's all it took. And it seems like that was the same way with you, just one
Absolutely,
tape,
yeah.
and then you're there a few weeks later. That's wild. So, what is it when you finally get on set and meet Seth MacFarlane? What's that like as a fan?
It was the thing about Mr. McFarlane is he is incredibly nice. He's incredibly calm. He's a comedic genius, but he's very humble. He's very it's not like, they bring out the trumpets and stuff. It's just because this was COVID, so we were all masked up and stuff, and he just walks in, and says, "Hi guys, I'm Seth. Let's shoot this rehearsal." But but as a fan, I mean, my jaw dropped on the floor. I before we started filming, because I was actually, when we did season one, I was the only minor on the school set, which was kind of funny. But we had to go in and we had to sign all the minor paperwork in the production office. And my mother and I, because I had to be accompanied because I was 17, my mom, we kind of came up with a code word. We were going to say, if we saw anyone famous on the Universal Studio lot, we were going to say coconut. That was kind of our
I
our, our
love
funny
it.
thing. So we were in the office. We didn't see anyone. We were just filling out all this, Coogan account, all this boring stuff. And Mr. Seth walked by on the phone, and I completely forgot the word coconut. And I just grabbed my mom and I went, "It's him. It's him." And so that was my first reaction to really seeing Mr. Seth.
So, as somebody, you said you hadn't seen the movies prior to doing the show. Like, what is your reaction reading the scripts?
I had never read something both so foul and so hilarious at the same time. A judge for it, because like I said, I grew up on Seth's humor, so I got how his humor was. But I knew that roughly, there was a talking teddy bear. I got that. I didn't know the story though. And what really appealed to me, even reading that 2 or 3 pages that I auditioned on, was the brilliance to me of, very quickly when you watch the show, there's this talking bear, and in about 5 minutes you forget that that's completely insane, and it becomes so normal so quickly. And I think that's the genius of the writing, and the concept really shines there when you see that.
So, I'm sorry, Angel, I'll let you get some questions
No,
in.
go ahead. I'll
When the
finish
show's
up
finally
before Ted's
done,
done.
did you sit down and watch the series?
I did. I did.
Do you have a favorite?
Episode? Uh I really like the Halloween episode. I thought that one really shone. I thought the performances, any scene with Alana Ubek is brilliant. She is a treasure that must be protected at all costs. Um but I guess I'd say the Halloween episode, but well and truly, it was everyone just did an outstanding job, and it.
Yeah, I agree with that. My favorite episode is the one where Ted and John kind of adopt their bully. They
Oh
become his father
yeah,
figure. That's my favorite.
yeah.
But it's such a good. Oh my god, it's such a good series.
It is. They I was so pleased because you never know how these things are going to come out and how they're going to do. But seeing the ethic of everyone on the show, I remember I was talking to Max about this in the first season when we were filming, and it's like everyone believed in it. We knew it was good. We were working on something really good, and that really, I think, drove everyone from camera to grips to actors to everyone to, we need to do our best for this. And I think in the final product you can really see that happen.
So when starting off with acting, did you ever think that you'd get to work with some of the big names like you have?
Absolutely not.
Or is it surprising, like still
It's
eye-opening to you?
it's very surprising and very eye-opening, just the idea that especially for me, it's the speed at which it happened. I I stepped on stage for the first time when I was 10. When I was 13, I joined the Renaissance Festival and worked there. Then when I was 14 or 15, I signed with my agent. And then 16 and 17 was Asteroid City and TED. So it was very much it feels so long back then, when you're waiting a year or 2 years for a movie to come out or a TV show to come out. But when you start counting the years, it really went by really fast. So it was very unexpected and snowballed very quickly.
I mean, even
It,
Ick. I'm looking at the IMDb for Ick. Can you tell me about Ick? Because I'm unfamiliar with the movie, but I mean, it's also got some pretty big names in it that you've worked with.
It does. So Ick was by a brilliant gentleman named Joseph Kahn. He primarily does music videos. He's worked with Taylor Swift, a bunch of really big names. But he's an excellent director. And so Ick was very interesting because it was filmed in basically our own backyard down here in Texas, and it was very indie, very not a big production in the middle of one of the driest and hottest summers in Texas. But it was brilliant because he did a lot of self-financing, self-directing, and one thing I didn't know at the time is Jack, who played the bully in Ted, was in it as well. We didn't find that out till after we did Ted, Jack McDonald. But the thing with Ick that I think is very very interesting is it really it was a really good experience because it was kind of jumping back and forth from Hollywood studio lot, very big production, to a contained but equally disciplined production, which was very nice to go. Like I said, I haven't had a single bad experience working in any of the projects I've ever done. Uh, so it's just nice, but it's also nice to see how different people work, their different styles. One thing I'll tell you about Ick that I think is very impressive is he had a guy on set editing the movie. So every day, they'd shoot 6 to 6 or whatever, and he'd spend until the early hours of the morning editing the film as he was making it. So he had a much tighter vision of how it was going to look. So that really translated to talking to us actors and telling us, specifically, we want to do this, we want to do that. So that, for that experience, his Mr. Khan's discipline and understanding of how the movie was going to fit together was very beneficial to learn from.
Do you have any fun stories from any of your sets that you've been on?
Let's see. I'll tell you the one kind of funny story about Asteroid City that I'll tell is I didn't know what I was doing. They wouldn't tell anyone. It was very top secret. It would be easier to get into Fort Knox than get a hold of the script. So we go up there, and because of COVID, we had to stay 10 days. We had to quarantine for the first 3 days, COVID tests every day, all this stuff. And it was really cool because it was this older town in Spain two towns, one called Chinchon, where they actually did the filming, and one called Aranjuez, where we stayed. But I didn't have any idea what I was going there to do. I got on a plane and flew over the ocean, just knowing that I was going to be in this movie, but not what I was going to do. For all I knew, they were going to have me bring Mr. West his bottled water. That, you know. But when I got there, it was still, you know, very hush hush. And they told me, all we know is that you're doing a scene with Rita Wilson, who's going to be your mother. And that's all I knew. And so it was this, like, I remember walking around with my dad in between, you know, fittings and all that, and being like, I have never walked in this something as open thought as this. I had no idea what I was going to do. And so we go into film. They fit me. I'm wearing this very nice set of pajamas, and I'm sitting there, and no one had given me a script. I had no idea what my lines were, which is very unlike me. I'm one of the guys where before I go to audition, say for a play, I have the script. I know the script. So being 5 minutes from filming and not knowing what I'm going to do was very nerve-wracking. And then I'm looking at the script, and it's the scene, and I'm reading it, and then I get to my line, which is hello, because I pick up a phone and answer. And I remember my mom tells it very dramatically, where I was looking at the paper and I was reading. I got to the very bottom where it says hello, and I had the piece of paper, and I turned it over, and it was blank. And I flipped back, and I was looking at it, and that was my line. But Mr. West is a very he knows exactly what he wants. One of the best descriptions to put it out is he is a painter, and the actors are his paints, and he knows exactly how to apply them. But he doesn't leave very much room for improv and that kind of stuff, which I'm very grateful for, because I like it very stringent like that. But we spent between her one little blob of dialogue, Miss Wilson, and my own one line, we spent over an hour and a half filming, because he wanted a bunch of takes. And it was very interesting. And I learned up until that point, that was the most I ever learned. It was my first real experience on a movie set. I'd done some commercial work, but nothing like this. So if you want a funny story, so we filmed behind the hotel where the cast was staying. They built this little panorama of a kitchen, which we filmed in, and we were getting close to being done. And then for some reason, the hotel where they were filming was right next to a really old church, like from the 1500s, and the bells started ringing, and they were having some kind of ceremony, and it went on for about 10 minutes. And every time we tried to start filming, it started ringing again. And everyone was and it was the last scene they were going to film of the day. They'd been filming all day. It was like 7 o'clock at night. The entire crew was exhausted. They'd been out on the main set, which was the town of Asteroid City. And it was almost like an Abbott and Costello routine, where we'd go, he'd say action, and we go to start talking, and the bells would start going. And so that was pretty funny.
That sounds pretty funny. So we're obviously Three Geeks Podcast. What is it that you geek out about?
Oh, goodness gracious. Probably history is my big thing. But when it comes to like pop culture, I'm a very big Lord of the Rings fan. That has been passed on to me by my father. So that's what I geek out about. I very much like reading, not just Lord of the Rings, but Cimmerils and his various unfinished tales and stuff Tolkien wrote. That's one of my big things. I really enjoy that. We do a yearly watch the movie, because I'm team only extended editions of those films. I don't accept any other version. But that Tolkien's a big thing I geek out about.
So, do you still use the code word? That's what I was going to ask a wave time back when you guys are out. Coconut. How many times have you just threw that out to mom and mom not know what you're talking about?
Yeah. Well, see, I'm very, speaking of being a geek, I'm very, despite being in the entertainment industry, I'm very entertainment industry dumb. For all the times I've been in LA, I'm sure multiple people have walked by me that I should know who they are, and I don't. So I haven't had to use that, especially when it comes to more modern celebrities and people like that. So I have not used it since. I keep it in my back pocket just in case, but I haven't had to use it yet.
Well, what's up next for you?
Well, I don't know when this is going to come out. Season 2 of Ted comes out March 5th on Peacock.
My birthday.
Oh, happy early
I'll be watching
birthday!
it for my birthday.
Very excited. Everything I've seen and all, it's going to meet expectations of season 1 and exceed them. I'm very excited to see. It was very nice because I think Peacock and NBC recognized the audience response to the first one, and there wasn't any guardrails on Seth for the first one, but even the idea of them were taken off for season 2, so it's gonna be a blast.
I can't wait. I cannot wait, everybody. Yeah, Ted comes out on March 5th. I hope you come back on the show again sometime in the future because you're a lot of fun to talk to.
I would love to. I haven't been media trained, so you're getting as authentic me as you can. But I would love to. It's been an absolute pleasure. I love geeking out over stuff, so absolutely.
Awesome. Where can everybody find you online?
I am on Instagram at officially Ara Hollyday. That is my main one. I'm also on TikTok under the same handle, though I don't post a lot. I apologize for that. And if you're in Houston, Texas, I'm around sometimes.
Awesome. Everybody like, comment, share, subscribe. Go check out Aaron. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.